What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, another episode of Let's Begin. I'm glad to see people getting in contact with me. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to see people taking my advice and getting a notebook. It's good to see. Somebody asked me an important question in relation to taxation. Thanks Andrew for getting on to me. I will cover this topic in a later video, but in brief terms, when you sell an asset, you are subjected to capital gains tax. There's a load of information in relation to capital gains tax on revenue.ie. So thanks Andrew for the question. So moving on. So today we said we were going to discuss Webull. It's the platform we use to gain information on all the stocks that we're buying and selling. So once again, I'd say if you have any questions or you're confused about anything, don't be afraid to DM me on Instagram or write in the comment section below the videos. I'm happy to help as well. If you're a trader yourself, I'd like to hear back from you. If you have any tips or tricks as well that we can share to the people. Okay, we'll jump straight into Webull right now. Just follow me along and we'll get through it. Okay guys, so Webull can be downloaded on any Android, iPhone, iPad, laptop, available on multiple devices. So just go ahead and download it for yourselves. Just type in Webull and it will pop up. I have Webull already downloaded, so we go into Webull. So here's Webull now. You can see straight off the bat, it is pretty intense. You can see there's a lot of information, but don't be afraid of that. We'll get through this. So we'll start from the top left. Watch list is all the companies that you like. Put into a watch list so you don't have to constantly look up the companies. If you like a particular company, just you see here there's a nice little star here, just hit that star and it'll be in your watch list. Pretty straightforward. You can see everything in my watch list. New Residential, Taylor Brands, Eventbrite, Tesla, Spotify, Cosmos Energy, one of my favorites, Uber, and so on. Today we'll be looking at Cosmos Energy in a more in-depth. You can see in the top right corner it's $2.20 right now. Moving on to stocks. So this is the main page that we'll be using. It has the graph, it has the watch list on the left, and it has the financials, has the press releases on the right. We'll come back to this page. I just want to get through the rest of the Webull app. So we'll move on to markets. So in this section, this gives you an overall perspective of the markets on a daily basis. So you can see in the left corner here, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones International Average, and the Nasdaq. So these are all indexes. Over to the right, you have the Nasdaq versus the New York Stock Exchange. Another interesting thing on this page is the top gainers and top losers. So you can see the top gainers of the day. You can see JAKS Pacific, it's up 80%. And in the top losers, you can see Rose Hill down 30%. So it gives you a gist of which companies are doing good and which companies are doing bad. Over here, we have hot ETFs. So ETF stands for Exchange Traded Funds. I won't get into too much detail about exchange traded funds, but what they are is, for example, an oil sector. You have multiple oil companies. So if you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, you can buy shares in an ETF. An ETF makes up all the different oil companies put into one fund. So your money is spread out evenly, and it just saves time if you want to just purchase one ETF and your money is spread out over a large amount of companies. Moving on, it has the hot industries, passenger transport, airlines, oil and gas, and things like that. I don't really use this too much. Moving on down to corporate actions. Now this is a good one. You can see off the bat here, IPO. We've discussed this in the last video. An IPO is an initial price offering for a company becoming public. So you can see they are becoming public on the 16th and then the 26th. You can see their initial price offering of $20 for Angel Oak. So if you're looking for new companies to invest in and you want to research upcoming companies, it's good to look into the upcoming IPOs, as you might get a deal for down the line. Moving on to earnings. What are earnings? So a company posts earnings every quarter. It just lets the investor know how the companies are doing every quarter. So you can see on the 16th, these companies are posting their earnings. So Groupon is posting their earnings, their quarterly earnings on the 16th. So it's good to keep an eye out on the earnings because that can affect the stock price. If they did bad, the stock's going to go down. If they're doing good, it's going to go up. So you have to watch this as well. Moving on to dividends. So this is upcoming dividends. So we discussed dividends in the last video also. Dividends is paid out quarterly by a company as a thank you for investing in their company long term. And you can see here, Ecolab, 47 cents per share is going to be given on the 15th of June to its investors. If you're a dividend investor, this is a good thing to watch. The rest of these pages you don't really need to know about because, as I said at the start, we're only using this for information purposes only. This is a trading platform, but only for the US, and it's not available in any other country yet. So we'll move back to the stocks page. Now, before I go back to the stock page, we must discuss what is fundamental analysis and technical analysis. So what's the difference between fundamental analysis and technical analysis? So fundamental analysis helps you determine what to buy, and technical analysis helps you determine when to buy. So we'll start with fundamental analysis. So fundamental analysis can be broken down into two categories. So category number 1, qualitative fundamental analysis, and category 2, quantitative fundamental analysis. Qualitative fundamental analysis is the qualities of the company. It's fundamentals that can't be quantified. Can the company be outgrown through time? What's the reputation that company has? Are they a household name? Are the company innovative? Are they planning for the future? What sector are they in? Are they in the oil sector? Are they in the tech sector? These are all qualitative fundamental analysis. The pros and cons of that company. There is a lot of information out in the market, a lot of noise in the market, so you do have to sift through all the information and pick out the best information to help you determine whether that's a good stock to buy or not for you. Don't forget your cup of tea as well. My mouth is dry as. Category number 2 of fundamental analysis, quantitative fundamental analysis. Fundamentals that can be quantified. So this is basically the number side to the company. How are they doing on paper? These are all the assets, how much machinery they own, how much land they have, how much cash they have in the bank, and also the liabilities of the company, so what loans they have, the salaries they're paying, and accrued expenses. So you don't want to rely on too much of one side of the fundamental analysis and not the other, because they both work in harmony. So that's basically fundamental analysis. These big words, man. Big words. So moving on to technical analysis. Deciding when to purchase your particular stock. So this is basically analyzing the graph using the indicators that I was talking about, the RSI, moving average. So let's jump back in and we'll go fully through technical analysis now. Okay guys, welcome back. So we are going back to the stocks page like I said. As you can see here, stocks page, a lot of information here. So we are going to focus on Cosmos Energy. As you can see, this is called a candlestick pattern graph. You can change the graphs by here. You can have an area, candle, hollow candle, baseline, and things like that. I won't get into candlestick patterns too much. You can have a whole video about candlestick patterns. But what I will say, the green candlestick patterns means the price went up, started here, and closed here. The wicks on both sides is where the price reached but didn't close at. Also on the opposite, a red candlestick pattern is the price closed at a lower price. So the price reached a bit higher and dropped all the way down, reached really low, and then closed just below this mark here, 246. So that's the difference between green candlestick and a red candlestick. We'll go to the fundamental sides of the page first before we get into the technical side. So on the right here is all the fundamental analysis. On the side here, these are 5 little buttons you'll generally use on a daily basis. We start with quotes. So this gives you all the information. Market capital, 891 million. Cosmos Energy, if you look down the bottom, scroll down to the bottom, it gives you a brief description of what the stock is. So Cosmos Energy is an independent oil and gas exploration company. So we'll scroll through. So we have the key statistics, all the times people are buying, order flow, how many people are buying compared to how many people are selling. Then we have the news section. So these are all the articles on the internet about Cosmos Energy. You can scroll through them. Then we have the financials, income, balance sheet, cash flow. An analyst rating based on 12 analysts. They recommend a strong buy of 16%. They recommend to hold on to these shares for a later date. Average price target. There's all these different ETFs. So Cosmos Energy is a part of all these different ETFs. So this is basically all fundamental analysis. All the numbers are the quantitative fundamental analysis, and all the articles wrote about Cosmos energy are all the qualitative fundamental analysis. So moving on to technical analysis, analyzing the trend. The three indicators I use is the moving average, the RSI, and the Bollinger Bands. So we'll start with the moving average. Now the moving average, you can see I've set up 200-day period moving average and a 50-day period moving average. You can simply change your settings if you just go into the settings part here and change them away. So the moving average just gives you the general direction of a trend. It helps you determine whether a trend is going up or down. So if a trend is below the moving average, it's an indicator to not buy that stock. And then if the trend is above a moving average, it's an indicator to buy that stock. So as you can see here, the trend has broken past the moving average, indicates this stock is now beginning an uptrend. That's basically the moving average. We'll move on to the Bollinger Bands. So the Bollinger Bands, I refer to it as a sausage. It looks like a sausage to me. So it's made up of a 20-day moving period average and then 2 standard deviations on both sides. You would use this if you were a day trader and you wanted to buy and sell rapidly throughout the day. We'll focus on this part here. So the Bollinger Bands will help you determine when there will be a change of direction in the trend. It can help you determine a potential breakout in the market, and it also acts as a support and resistance line. When you see the trend hugging the outer deviation line, this usually suggests a change in direction, usually on the downward. So it hugs the outer deviation line, and then you can see there on the 26th of March it changed direction to a downtrend until the 1st of April. So when it hugs an outer and inner deviation line, when it hugs an outer deviation line, it indicates a change of direction in a downward. When it hugs an inward deviation line, it indicates an upward trend. Now the next use for a Bollinger Band is the Bollinger Squeeze. So a compression in the market usually indicates a potential market breakout. On the 17th of April, there was a compression in the market. The sausage tends to tighten and squeeze. Just after the 20th, it shot up to $1.44. So that's an example of a Bollinger Squeeze. And when I say about support and resistance, I'm on about it using the middle line as a support line and then the outer deviation line as the resistance line. That's the Bollinger Band. Let's move on to the RSI, my favorite indicator. So this is a sub chart below the main chart. It stands for Relative Strength Index. So how would you use this chart? So anything above 70% is said to be overbought or overvalued. So this would help you determine when to buy the stock. So you wouldn't buy over 70%. The stock is said to be overvalued, so it could drop. And anything below 30% is said to be oversold and undervalued. So that's the perfect time to buy a stock. So as you can see here, the stock dipped on the 10th of June. So this helps you determine when to get the best deal. So you use all these three indicators together to help you determine when to purchase the stock. There's no point you deciding to purchase the stock at 344 when your RSI indicator tells you that that stock is overvalued, which indicates a downtrend could be coming. So I would have waited until that dropped, and then it did drop all the way back down to 20%, which indicates a good deal and a good time to buy. So yeah, that's a brief description of Webull. I know it's a lot to take in, but I will show it in future videos and we will get used to it. I hope you're all getting started on Revolut. So next week we'll be going back to Revolut. I will be discussing my portfolio, why I bought that stocks, when I'm planning to sell them, and what I'm going to buy in the future. Now I have set up a discussion group on Facebook called Revolut Trading Our Journey. So go ahead and join that. I will be posting relevant information in relation to stocks I like. I would love to see your progress, and it just gives us a place to share all our tips and tricks and things like that. So guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you later.